All right, sorry about that, guys. We're gonna start from the top.
Yeah.
Jodi's gonna take over.
Yeah, so welcome back to those of us who joined us on Monday, and hi to anyone who's their first time with me. My name is Jodi Minnis. I am an artist, a writer, and curator, and today we will be doing drawing with observation, but with charcoal. So there are two different methods that you could use with charcoal. You can do an additive drawing, which means that you go right in with your charcoal and you create the drawing through adding charcoal to the paper, or you can do a subtractive drawing, which is using fine charcoal as a base and creating a sort of a neutral tone of the paper and then erasing into it and then adding into it. So today, for time purposes, we're going to be doing a subtractive charcoal drawing. So what I like to do, my paper's not set up properly here because I like to create a border with my blue tape. It kind of gives the finished piece more of a clean look because charcoal is so messy. That's why I'm wearing black today. So I'm gonna take a long piece of blue tape. Blue painter's tape is fine because it comes right off. And we're just gonna use this one that's up here right now. Take it right to the edge of the paper. So you're creating a border. My border doesn't have to be perfect. We're just gonna put that on there and try to get it as neat as possible. Something, yeah, just as wide as the tape. And you know, tape comes in like various widths, so don't stress yourself. And you're gonna do all sides just to have some consistency. And this helps if like you can't afford matting with framing. So it creates almost like an illusion of a mat board. Preparation is key with drawing and with any medium. So just take the time to prepare your drawings, your stations, get set up, and then you'll be able to rock and roll. So we're just gonna do this for like probably another 30 seconds. It won't take too long. Please try to be straighter than I am right now. Kind of clumsy. I just put this here.
Wait, so what are we doing?
We are just attaching our paper to the board, getting our surface ready. That's it. So we're creating a border with the tape just to ensure that we have a clean surface when in a controlled environment when we're drawing. Does that make sense? So I have a lot of different things in my box, but we're going to start off with fine charcoal now. So fine charcoal is sort of like a compressed charcoal, but it's so much lighter and it's easier to erase. It's easier to build up surfaces with. So you're just gonna get a piece of fine charcoal. They come in really long pieces and you can snap them in half easily. It's so fine. They break all the time. You're gonna need a lot. But they're like maybe $3 a pack. Yeah, 308.
I think everyone should have one.
Yeah, so and then we're gonna need tissue paper. So just a regular piece of paper. And like I said, with this drawing technique, it takes a lot of preparation. It's fine. We're gonna get drawing in a minute. Just take your paper, crumple it up, and then smooth it out, crumple it up again. The reason why I'm doing this is because you're gonna need to use the paper as a blending tool, and you need it to be soft so you can get like a really smooth consistency along your picture plane. And if you have like a really soft paper, that's fine, you can use that too. So I have this like nice and crumpled, so we're ready to start. So what I want you to do is to either go from left to right, but you have to be consistent in your strokes, the way in which you apply the fine charcoal to your paper. If you do it all haphazardly, the surface won't be, what's the word, cohesive. It just won't look cohesive, it'll look wild. But we're trying to build up a surface. And I guess it'll all make sense with like once I start. So I'm gonna go from left to right. Take it along smoothly. It's gonna screech a little, that's all right. Go back and forth, back and forth. Try to catch every part of the paper. You go back up, and you now kind of have an idea of what I mean about a toned surface. So we're just creating your middle ground right now. And then what you're going to do with the tissue paper is you're just gonna ball it up and just do light circles. Very light application, just to blend all of that together. So we're blending, we're trying to create an evenness within it so that the whole thing is the same tone. There's a consistency. It's okay if you see the strokes, because we're gonna go back into that. And then you're gonna go back in with your fine charcoal. And what you can do now is we went left to right, so let's go up and down now. And if your charcoal breaks at any point, it's fine. You could still use, you could use it until it gets like really small and you can't hold it anymore, that's fine. Fine charcoal is meant to be this messy. Go one more time. I would suggest just doing this 3 times so it doesn't go as dark. Like I'm saying, we're creating a mid-ground. So you have your foreground, your mid-ground, and your background. So what we want to do is we want to create a neutral space where we can go really light and where we can get really dark. So you don't want to do it too harsh where you take it away. You just want to apply just a nice soft pressure just to blend it all together. And we're going to do this one last time, and then we're going to get into our drawing of our coconuts that we used on Monday. So I'm just going to get another piece, a really fat block. I love it. Let's see if it works. So, yeah. Fine charcoal comes really thick. It can come really thin. You could make your own charcoal as well. That's a process I don't know how to do yet, but I know it's possible. So if you can't afford it, that's okay. You just burn some sticks and make your own. All right, that's our last layer. Just gonna straighten this up. There we go. And one last time. It's a nice neutral gray right now. Really getting it blended. Really soft edges. It's beautiful. Oh my goodness. We have such a great base to work with. It's consistent. So this is not lighter than this. This is not darker than that. It's just an even tone straight throughout. So if you were here on Monday, the same steps that we use for drawing from observation with graphite, we're going to use today with charcoal. So what we want to do is we want to use our fine charcoal, and this is going to be our drawing tool. Why? Because it's easy to blend, it's easy to erase. If you start off with the compressed charcoal, it's kind of like you're committing very fast, and because we just want to get like the general shape, so we're working from general to specific again. Because we want to get the general shape, we're just going to go in with the fine charcoal because it's easier to amend your mistakes. So I have 3 coconuts here. We just want to get an idea of scale, placement, proportions. So we're just gonna go and map those in right now. It broke. That'll happen. It's not the end of the world. We got our first coconut. Got our second coconut. Third one. And remember, just like with graphite, 90% seeing, 10% drawing. Try to keep your eye on your subject matter as much as you can. You want to get in all of the information that's there. Anything that you could see that contributes to your composition, put that in. Got that there. Then you have the base. Gonna plop that in. Got the base at the bottom. And we're about done with mapping in our composition. Like I said on Monday, make sure that you include your base so that your whatever you're drawing doesn't look like it's floating in the space. We want to make sure that it's grounded, and we want to make sure that it's a cohesive composition. All right, so we have like a general idea of what's going on. What we want to do now is we want to figure out those proportions. So you can use, for the time being, if you have a charcoal pencil, that's fine. If you have a skewer stick, it's great. The thinner your medium is, don't use a ruler. Rulers are too thick. But just like a pencil, a thin medium. You're gonna hold it out with your opposite hand. So if you're right-handed, use your left hand. You're gonna try to angle. So we're working with the contour lines now. We're trying to clean up our contour lines. So we're just gonna get that angle in, squint a little bit to make sure that you are just seeing. If you want me to further elaborate on this, let me know. I could give Blake and Syria some information to give you guys. Make your angle. Get that curve in. Try to keep your pencil as straight as possible. It's a really mechanical process, and that's all right. It's almost like your arm is a compass, and you're just using that to clean it up. And we're gonna do this for probably another couple minutes here, maybe like a minute. Just clean that up. For a longer drawing session, take all the time you need. We're trying to get those proportions together because it's really going to help if you do that at the beginning of your drawing rather than trying to correct it at the end. Trust me, prep work is the best work. Prep work in painting and drawing really, really, really influences the success of your drawing. And that's facts. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're just going around the whole surface. You got that in, so a little angle there. Make sure you're continuously looking, because there's some things that you could just notice when you're looking, like, this actually curves a little bit more. So we're gonna put that in.
So if people didn't have line charcoal, could they do this surface here with compressed charcoal?
It's not recommended because the compressed charcoal won't be able to erase, and it's just going to be really, really hard for you to push and pull like we will be doing. What I would suggest, if you're going to use compressed charcoal to, when I get to that step, then I'll explain it, but you would just have to use it like you use graphite, because compressed charcoal comes in like 2B, 4B, 6B as well, and you could use the same tactics with that. So we're gonna just go in with our tissue. Look at tissue being a drawing medium. Who would have thought? And we're just gonna blend out those areas that we corrected. And the reason why we're not using a eraser right now is because our eraser in this instance is used as a tool of drawing more so than a tool of correcting. So it's a drawing medium rather than just to fix your mistakes or to clean up. All right, and those little spots where your finger got in, try to get those too, because those, they make a huge difference.
So a couple of comments are coming in saying that people don't have the fine charcoal, so they're wondering if there is a substitute that they can use.
For fine charcoal?
Yeah.
What you could do is you could just use the tone paper. So if you have like a blue paper or gray paper or any colored paper, if it's construction paper, that's fine too. But I would just say, let's just not, I'll speed it up a little bit. We're getting into the compressed charcoal portion of it right now. So one of the things that we're doing with this and charcoal, what charcoal does beautifully is charcoal relays light and shadow very beautifully. So you get really dramatic with it with not doing so much. So I have my eraser here. I have a regular hard eraser, and then I have a kneaded eraser.
So can you just repeat the question that I asked you about, because apparently it's hard to hear me. So
Oh,
can you
yeah.
just say you were answering
So
what substitute to?
I'm answering the question about the substitute to fine charcoal. If you do not have fine charcoal, you can use construction paper or toned paper. So if it's gray, if it's blue, anything like that, that's a neutral color. You just want what fine charcoal does is it just creates a neutral base. So if the base is already neutral, then you could start with the portion that is compressed charcoal. I hope that that helps. And then if we have time, I could also do like a quick compressed charcoal tutorial. So let's try to get through this. And you have your hard eraser, you have your kneaded eraser. And what we're gonna do is we're going to like pull out our lights and shadows now. So if you look at the composition, our direction of light is coming from the left, the top left, it's coming directly down. So it's a very clear mark of where, like, what is our lightest light, what is our highlights, and what is our darkest dots. And the same thing with understanding how shadows and lights deal with our textured surfaces. We're going to take all of that. We're going to take all of that into consideration now too. So we're going to use shapes. So I don't want us to get into the habit of just like marks with this. No, I want you to block out shapes. So if you use the side of your eraser, we're gonna go in. This is our lightest light. So we're just gonna pull that out to erase that. And it's never gonna get fully white again. And that is so fine. And then you could use your kneaded eraser because it's a little lighter to blend that out. And now you could see like more of a transition in color now. So you can see where the light is coming from now. Just gonna pull that out. And then we realize that the base, there's a lot of light on the base as well. So you have to pull that out. And then your kneaded eraser is gonna get like really nasty like that, and that's okay. So you just pull it, turn it around, and boom, you got a nice clean surface. It's gonna get you that nice white again, and just bring that all around. Just follow the shadow shapes, follow the light shapes, and really use your eraser as a drawing tool. Pull that out, pull that out. And this is gonna take a little time, that's all right. But once you have that in, it's gonna be so much easier when you go in with the other stuff. So if we were doing an additive drawing, you wouldn't have to pull this out. You would just use the white of the paper to distinguish where your highlights or lighter areas are. And also remember what we talked about relative shadow. This is like because this area is closest to the light, this is gonna be the area that is the lightest. And because this area is furthest from the light, this is gonna be our darkest area. But we have some reflective light on this side, so we're just gonna pull that out. And it's a dance. So if you make a mistake with fine charcoal, which is really great, is that you could just go back in with it and clean it up, and that's all right. So almost done. Big shapes, big movements. Don't be afraid of it. It's so fine. It's all about refinement. Like I said about the graphite drawing, you're going from general to specific, and yeah. And they told me I had some plastic on there. Good looking out, Blake, thank you. But yeah, we're going from general to specific. So refinement is definitely needed in a process like this. So I think that we have like a good idea of where our lightest light is, where our core shadows are. Now we're gonna put in some of our deeper shadows. And this is where our charcoal pencils and compressed charcoal comes in. So with an additive drawing, you're gonna do the reverse. So you're gonna go in lightly. So with a 2B compressed charcoal, and you're gonna block in your core shadow, and then you're gonna blend that out. And then you're gonna block in your darkest darks and just keep forming it like that. So I'm gonna get my pencils. If you don't have pencils, it's fine. It's so fine. Pencils are only used if you looking for one that's open. None are open. I waste a lot of money on. But yeah, pencils only used if you don't have really small compressed charcoal pieces. I have some really chunky ones.
That's the compressed.
They're so beautiful.
Really, I was just asking if one more time people use how they can do this process if they don't have fine charcoal.
If you don't have fine charcoal, what you're going to do is you are going to use your compressed charcoal as a way of adding. So I'm just gonna do this right quick. Let's take it on the phone. So if you don't have it, I'm just gonna go through it like really quickly. You have a white surface here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a pencil or a smaller, so I'm using the soft one, but I am second guessing myself. The medium will be better. So we're gonna use a medium charcoal pencil. And this is where the importance of line weight comes in. So for the areas that are in light, it's gonna be a really thin line. And the areas that are not, you get a little harder, and it will show that it's in shadow. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use our pencil, and we're gonna try to get very lightly, because this can still erase, but very lightly. Map it out. I'm just gonna do the two in the front. When you've gotten those mapped out, keep in mind that this is our light. This is the area that light is coming into. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out compressed charcoal. We're gonna lightly find our darkest areas, and we're gonna block those in. The other darknesses. I'm gonna go on this side, block that in. There's some shadow here. So we started with the subtractive, we started with the light first. With the additive, we're gonna start with the shadow. Gonna pull that in. And I'm doing this really, really lightly, guys. Do not go in with it like super hard at first. It's gonna be a pain. So we're looking for shapes. Shadow shapes, use the side of it. You're gonna put that in. And then what you're gonna do now is you're gonna use a blending stump if you have one. If you don't have one, you could definitely use your paper. I'm just gonna blend that out. Let me use my paper. But what I'm now remembering is you don't blend out compressed charcoal. I made a boo-boo, it's fine. So what we're gonna do is you just add to that. And then you go in darker to define those darker areas. And then once you have like your shadow shapes, what you can do to really bring this out and to refine it is you use your pencils. This is where your pencils come in. And you use it like any other shading technique. So you go in just to reinforce that. And I'm taking my soft because the soft is the softest pencil, which means that it gets the darkest. And you cross hatch that out to build up that shadow. And you just use it like a regular drawing tool. I'm going on my medium. Is this connected? So. Yeah. And we're just trying to build up volume here. That's the key. If this is not making sense to anyone, let me know. And remember, with shading, the more sparse it is, the more light in it. We're just trying to create volume now. And your cross hatching can be tighter, but for the sake of time, mine is just a little wonky. It's fine. So I'm switching it between my soft and medium pencil just to create a gradient. I hope that you guys could see that. Going in with looser strokes. I'm just gonna clean that up. There's a little cast shadow on the side here. So I'm gonna find a hard pencil and go in with that. And then we could switch back. So it's literally like you're just drawing in with a pencil, but just keeping in mind that you have to do more building up with this, and you have to be more intentional with your strokes because you're trying to pull it out of from the light rather than pulling it out from like the mid ground, if that makes sense. So the only thing that we're trying to achieve here is a sense of that this thing has weight. You could see the visual weight. You could see where it exists in the plane. We're just gonna put some of that background in just to really show the contrast between the light. I'm gonna darken this side up. This side is not in light. This goes back to what we talked about, relative shadows. Get lighter this way because this is the light. Light is coming from this area. I'm really just mapping it out with our compressed charcoal. Does this make sense to everyone? Okay, awesome. Almost done. And I'm not big on drawing lines with the compressed charcoal just because you could get some really meaty shapes with it. And like I said with the graphite is that there's no real line. So we're gonna go in and just pull out some of the shadows, make those a little bit more dramatic. Remember, do not blend. Do not blend the compressed charcoal. It won't work. I tried it. It won't work. This is in shadow. All right, I hope that this helps. Like I said, if you need like any further like explanation on this, I would love to supply more information to Blake and Ziria. Awesome. Back to our first drawing. Now we are in the compressed charcoal stage of it. So really big shadow shapes. Block those in, our darkest darks. And remember, you can't, like whatever you put in with the compressed charcoal, you can erase it. So let's just try to be a little bit more purposeful. You could also build up your core shadows with the fine charcoal, which I'll do in a minute. And it's okay if your subject matter is in that dark, like you don't have any stark differences. It's totally fine. I really don't care. Just darkening this up. And you could do that with the fine charcoal. And that's it. That's all the darkness that I'm putting in, because we're gonna go in with our pencils. If you have pencils, if you don't have pencils, just use your compressed charcoal really lightly to make little strokes. And that can work as well. Going in my soft pencil, little cross hatching action, little hatching action. Get the volume going. I'm gonna pull that up a little bit. Going on my medium now, just to really pull some of that surface texture out.
Someone's asking, do we have any pencils? How many different pencils do you use?
I just have 3: soft, medium, soft, hard, and medium. That's it. The only pencils that you need are 3 different pencils: soft, medium, and hard. Or if you find pencils that do not have soft, medium, and hard, 2B, 4B, 6B is fine. Of course. Getting the hang of this, y'all. So by Friday, this will be set. You could go in and you could use your pencil to make some areas more definitive. Just blend that into there. I got a little highlight right there. All right, so lastly, I just wanna, I hope that you understand like light. You have your light, you see the direction of light, you have your core shadow, and then you have your cast shadow. So light, medium, dark, foreground, midground, background. So it should be a gradient across the picture plane. And then you could use your pencils again just to create some of that surface texture that we talked about on Monday. I'm just using light strokes because that works for me. Like I said, cross-hatching, stippling, whatever kind of shading technique that you want, it's fine. You could go in with your eraser to pull out some more of the details as well. That works. And you could keep refining it from this point. You could keep going back and forth with your eraser, just pulling some of that stuff out. You could go in with your fine charcoal to make some stuff darker, to really control the darkness. Don't be afraid to pick up your tissue again to blend some areas out. Use your eraser as a drawing tool All of these things help in creating depth and volume. So if you have any other questions, let me know. But I think for right now, and then to just clean this all up, and my big fat fine charcoal, just remember the background as well. You could use your fine charcoal to bring the background in. Darkness, you could make it a little darker. See how that really like caused that coconut to come forward? All right, and we're gonna call it that now. And then what I wanna show you, what I was talking about in the beginning with your blue tape. So if I take this off now, you have a really slick line. Of course, your blue tape will come off better than this. I'm just being super clumsy right now. But you have a really slick border, y'all. Feels like a big reveal, you know? Yeah, like you just got a gift and it's like, oh. And watch your fingers because it will smudge it. And your fingers have oils on them too. So be careful with how you touch your page. And the more you refine it, the more definition you will have. Don't be afraid to push and pull with your shadows and your highlights, your highlights, your cast shadows, your core lights, all of that. Just everything that, depending, the application of drawing doesn't change with your medium. The medium just changes a little bit because, you know, charcoal is so much like wilder and looser than graphite, but the same thing applies. General to specific, contour lines, get your proportions together, get your shadows together, your volume, get your relative shadows together, and just really refine it. Go in 90% seeing, 10% drawing. Thank you for your time, guys. And I will see you on Friday.